Long before municipal garbage collection and recycling centers, European families had to manage every bit of waste themselves. This wasn't just about cleanliness, it was about survival, efficiency, and making the most of limited resources. Households developed routines and methods that were practical, systematic, and often surprisingly sustainable. Understanding these practices gives us insight into daily life centuries ago and offers lessons we can still apply today, especially for anyone interested in self-sufficiency, historical reenactment, or survival skills. Families separated organic from inorganic waste in their daily routines. Organic waste was considered too valuable to discard. Food scraps, animal bones, and garden trimmings were collected in separate containers. Families would feed vegetable peelings, stale bread, and leftover grains to pigs and chickens. Bones were boiled down for soup or crushed to fertilize fields, while eggshells and coffee grounds enriched garden soil. Even human and animal waste was repurposed in the form of night soil, collected and applied to fields as fertilizer. This constant recycling of organic matter not only reduced waste but strengthened the household's self-sufficiency. For those recreating historical practices or aiming for low-waste living, setting up separate bins for compostable material can mimic this system effectively. Inorganic waste was reused or stored for future needs. Glass, metal, and ceramics were rarely thrown away. Broken pottery could be ground and mixed into mortar or garden paths. Metal scraps were melted down or reforged into tools, nails, or household implements. Glass bottles were cleaned, refilled, and reused repeatedly. Families would also trade unwanted items locally, turning one household's trash into another's treasure. By observing this approach today, survivalists or DIY enthusiasts can learn the value of maintaining a stockpile of reusable materials and thinking creatively about repurposing rather than discarding. Waste wasn't left haphazardly. Households often designated specific areas for refuse pits for compostable matter, bins for metals and glass, and small heaps for materials awaiting reuse. Garbage was collected on fixed days, sometimes hauled to community dumps or burned under controlled conditions. This routine prevented pests, limited odors, and maintained a functional living space. Modern practitioners can adopt similar methods by establishing a daily or weekly sorting habit and designating separate spaces for different waste types to reduce clutter and contamination. In many European villages, waste management extended beyond just individual households. Night soil collectors, scrap merchants, and communal pits were actually pretty common. Families would coordinate with their neighbors to dispose of ashes, human waste, and large pieces of organic debris. Markets and workshops often accepted broken tools, textiles, and metals for repair or resale. Understanding this community-driven system really highlights how households relied on networks, not just individual effort, to keep things clean and use resources efficiently. Even today, local swapping, repair networks, and community composting kind of mirror these historic practices. Households managed to reduce waste by carefully planning their food and material use. Folks avoided overbuying, and leftovers were creatively repurposed. For example, bread would become breadcrumbs or animal feed, and overripe fruit was turned into preserves or cider. Leftover fabrics were patched up, sewn into new garments, or even shredded for stuffing. This level of foresight and resourcefulness made sure nothing went unused. In practice, anyone interested in historical living or survivalism can actually adopt these techniques by learning preservation methods like fermenting, pickling, or crafting household items from scraps. Regular maintenance was key to avoiding unnecessary waste. Metal utensils were polished to prevent rust, wooden tools were oiled, and textiles were mended rather than replaced. This mindset encouraged durability and long-term thinking, with households investing effort upfront to avoid repeated replacement. Today, this translates to practical skills like sharpening tools, patching clothes, and caring for cookware, habits that reduce waste and increase self-reliance. Historical waste practices demonstrate a mindset of resource maximization. Every scrap had a purpose, and every household task accounted for the broader system of living and survival. Modern enthusiasts can adopt these lessons by maintaining compost systems, repurposing broken tools, and being deliberate about what enters and leaves the home. For anyone documenting history or living in self-sufficient conditions, understanding these methods provides context and actionable strategies to replicate authentic low-waste lifestyles. If you're experimenting with these historical methods, start with a small garden compost. Collect vegetable peels, coffee grounds, and yard clippings. Use broken ceramic pieces for drainage in pots or crushed into garden pathways. Set aside metal scraps to be reshaped or traded at local craft workshops. Reuse jars and bottles, cleaning and refilling them for storage. Even small steps like mending clothes and carefully managing food portions reflect centuries-old habits that supported household efficiency and environmental stewardship. Understanding how families managed waste adds depth to our perception of daily life in Europe during the past centuries. It reveals the invisible systems that made households functional and resilient. It also illuminates the skills, cooperation, and foresight required to survive in a world without modern conveniences. For historians, reenactors, and survival enthusiasts, these insights are invaluable, providing both practical applications and a richer understanding of the past. Learning these routines allows modern households to engage with history in a tangible, practical way, blending past wisdom with contemporary living. Subscribing to Warpaths of Europe ensures you don't miss future guides that uncover the practical, everyday strategies of historical Europeans. Share this guide with fellow history enthusiasts so they can experience the efficiency and resourcefulness of past households firsthand.